Today on AskBloop, keeping the rights to your own ideas. Welcome to AskBloop, more from bloopanimations.com. It's Friday and it's time for your questions. Just an FYI in case you missed it, we're increasing the prices of all of our courses next week, and I've released a video going over all the details and all the prices changes. So if you're considering getting any of our courses, definitely check it out and make sure you get it before the price increases. And now for the questions. When you animate a character, do you use trial and error to determine the right distance of motion? When trying to figure out the motion and timing of an action in an animation, you can either use reference video, either by shooting it yourself or looking for it online, or using your own experience and imagination. I personally like to do things without reference, just because I have a very specific image in my head and I like to get it from there. But I also usually do unrealistic animation, like more cartoony stuff. And I'm also a bit more experienced, so it's usually easier for me to get it right. But when I started out, I used reference video much more, and most animators would still recommend shooting reference video no matter how experienced you are. So it's more of a personal preference. I still use reference video sometimes for actions that I'm not sure how they go. For example, in Tasteful, I had a chicken character walking, so I looked up chicken videos on YouTube to figure out how they walk and how they react when they're scared. So you have to figure out how you prefer to work. Generally, I would say though that shooting reference video is definitely recommended. I just like the more improvised way of going about animation, but that's just me. What's the best way to get my first short film out there for people to see? Should I use YouTube or keep it on a personal website? I was thinking about putting a trailer on my YouTube channel and then directing people to my website. Well, your question was, what's the best way to get my film out there for people to see? So if that's your goal, getting as many people to watch it, then why put any obstacles in their way? I get the idea of wanting people to come to your website, but that seems like it's not very customer oriented and more you wanting people to come to your website, which is a fine goal, but not the goal that you were talking about. You were talking about getting people to watch your film. I can promise you that with a trailer, you will get much less people watching your film than if you just put the whole film on YouTube. The amount of people who will actually click on the link to your website is going to be tiny. If you want people to watch your film, then put it on YouTube. YouTube is the biggest video platform right now, so that's where it should be. Probably on Facebook too, since they're on their way to be as big as YouTube as a video platform. As for your website, sure, definitely have the film up there as well, and throw in a link to it in the description and the credits, and you might get some people checking it out. Most creators of famous cartoon characters have to give up the rights to the studio they work for. How can an artist keep the rights to their own creation? Well, there's not going to be any miracle answer here. It's all legal stuff, so whatever contract you sign is going to determine your rights. If you're hired by a studio to create a show, or your pitch is bought by a studio who's going to produce your show, you're probably going to have to give up the rights in exchange for the studio funding the production of the show. I'm sure there are cases in which it was different, but that's the basic idea. If you want to avoid it, then fund the show yourself. It's really that simple. If you're going to ask for money, then you need to give something in return. And often it will be the rights to the product. Otherwise, what will the studio get out of the deal? They're risking much more than you are. And they don't want you to then decide to take a successful show to a different network, right? I'm personally very for keeping all the rights. And I can tell you that the next project that we're working on right now, which I'll talk about in the future, is heavily character-based and could lead to a TV show or a film, and I'm funding it completely by myself, and I will keep all the rights to the IP. But I understand that for most indie creators, they have to get a huge studio to fund their idea, otherwise it will just not materialize. So in short, there's no specific way to keep the rights to your work. It's all in the contract. If you're an unknown, your contracts are going to be worse. The more successful and famous you get as a creator, the more leverage you have and might be able to get a better deal. Alright, that's all the questions for today. If you have one, post it in the comment section below. Don't forget to get the course that you want before we increase the prices next week, and start getting excited about Storyboarding Foundations, which come out next week as well. Thanks for watching. See you next week.